Hi, everybody. Today we're going to take a look at the last time the Republicans controlled at least one chamber in the state legislature. We've already done this for the Dems. Today it's going to be for the GOP. All they need to have is control of either the upper chamber, usually called the state Senate, or the lower chamber, usually called the state House. In some states they already dominate, but others you've got to go back many decades. And sometimes we run into a discrepancy or two, but I did take all the data from either Ballotpedia or Wikipedia, and I've got 9 tiers of shading, starting with the present, going back every decade all the way before the 1960s. So let's get started. We're going to go through it alphabetically. First up is Alabama, and this is a red state. Republicans control both chambers. Next up in Alaska. This state gets a little weird because there's different governing coalitions, but officially there's currently a majority of elected Republicans in both chambers. It's going to be the same thing in more current red state legislatures in Arizona and Arkansas. Then we've got our first blue state. It's California. It's been a while since the Republicans were in the majority here at all. The year is 1996, and that's the last time the Republicans were in the majority here, and they were in control of the state house. Next, in Colorado, in 2018, the GOP was in the majority here in the state Senate. On the East Coast, we've got Connecticut. In 2018, there was a tie and a power-sharing agreement. But if you're looking for the last time there was an outright GOP majority, you're going to stay in the Senate and you're going to go back to 1996, same as California. In Delaware, the year this time is going to be 2008, and you're going to be looking at the state house. Then more current red states in Florida and Georgia. How about Hawaii? That's long been known as a deep blue state. Ever since they became a state, Republicans barely had any time in the majority here, and the most recent time is way far back. It's all the way in 1962, and it was in the state Senate. In Idaho, the Republicans are currently in the majority in both chambers. Then we've got Illinois. The year here is 2002. Republicans were in control of the state Senate. Then it's going to be more red states: Indiana, Iowa, Kentucky, Kansas, and Louisiana. All the way in the Northeast, in Maine, it's going to be 2018. It's going to be the state Senate. How about Maryland? Well, in this state, you've actually got to go back the farthest for both parties, for all the states. You might think in the last 100 years, Republicans were in the majority somehow for at least a couple of years. Turns out that's not the case, and you've got to go all the way back to 1919. That was the last time Republicans had any kind of a majority here, and that was in the state house, and that's the current longest active streak. Another deep blue state is Massachusetts, and here you've also got to go back super far, but not nearly as far as Maryland. This time it's going to be 1958, and it's going to be in the state Senate. In Michigan, right now, Republicans are in the majority in the state house. In Minnesota, it gets a little tricky here. In the state house, there's currently a tie, but earlier in the year, Republicans were technically briefly in the majority, and the last time they actually sustained an outright majority was in 2018. So it depends on how you want to look at this one, but we're going to say earlier in the year, they technically did have a brief majority. It's debatable if that's the year you're going to want to use, but that's what we're going to go with. Otherwise, it's going to be in 18. Next, it's more red states. It's Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, and Nebraska. Next, let's head out west to the Silver State. We've got Nevada. Prior to the last redistricting cycle in 2016, Republicans were actually in the majority here in both chambers. Then in New Hampshire, Republicans currently have a majority in the legislature in both chambers. Next, in New Jersey, in 2003, there was a tie and a power-sharing agreement in the state Senate. Before that, in 2001, Republicans actually had the majority in both the state Senate and the state Assembly. In the state of New Mexico, you've got to go back to 2016 and take a look at the state house to find the most recent Republican majority. Let's take a look at the Empire State next. Here there were some different governing coalitions in the last decade, but you don't have to go back super far to find the last GOP majority. The year is going to be 2018, and it's going to be in the state Senate. Then more current Republican majorities in North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, and Oklahoma. In Oregon, back in 2011, there was another tie in the state house, so there was another power-sharing agreement. But the most recent outright Republican majority was also in the House, and it was in 2006. Pennsylvania in the state Senate, Republicans are currently in the majority. And Rhode Island, you've got to go back a long time on this one. We've seen this year before, but it's again going to be 1958, and it's going to be in the state Senate. Then we've got 5 more red states. It's South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, and Utah. In the super blue state of Vermont, at one time Republicans dominated here, and there's usually more than just Democrats and Republicans elected here, but the last time there was technically an outright Republican majority was in 2004 in the state house. In Virginia, it was only a couple of years ago, 2023, Republicans were in the majority in the state house, and the last blue state we've got is in the Northwest. It's Washington. Here, again, not too far back, way newer than Rhode Island, it's going to be 2016. In the state Senate, that was was when Republicans had an outright majority. Since then, they're on about a 9-year drought without being in power. And then finally, we've got the last red states of West Virginia, Wisconsin, and Wyoming. Republicans there in the majority in both chambers. So that's it. Those are all of the states. And this really goes to show how long it's been in some of these places since Republicans had a taste of any power. The biggest droughts are obviously going to be in blue states, Maryland, Hawaii, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island. But other states we would consider to be deep blue today, Republicans were in the majority not all that long ago. Places like Colorado, New York, and Washington all had Republicans in the majority within the past 10 years. There's a lot of different reasons for these streaks. Some of these states are going to have more liberal Republicans or conservative Democrats. That's going to affect some of these streaks. But it is stunning going back more than 100 years in Maryland. That's kind of like the Kansas for Democrats, as that state has had some massive blue droughts. A bunch of these other ones could go on a long time, but in most of these states, the Republicans are currently in power. But that's it. We've taken a look at both sides. Now you know where the biggest droughts are for each party in terms of the state legislature. So let me know in the comments, what do you think about any of the droughts in any of these states? Are you surprised about Oregon, Illinois, or New Jersey? Which of these streaks is going to go on for at least another 20 or 30 years? And which do you think is going to be snapped next? Let me know what you think down below on your way out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join if you'd like to support the channel. Hit the bell for notifications. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.